Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's DLloyd. So, of course, we had to talk about the Fox Sports 1 situation with the impending lawsuit because it took over all of social media yesterday. People have been making jokes about it, but it is a very serious conversation. It's a delicate conversation because there are quite a few people involved in this. Fox Sports 1, I know they want to worry about the reputation, but at the same time, they have to deal with this conversation. If they're being falsely accused, you know, it's a tough situation right there because they are a business. They got to worry about the public perception as well as fighting things in court. But if any of this stuff is true, it is devastating for Fox Sports 1 and really a lot of the people involved. Now, of course, we know the names: Charlie Dixon, who's the head of all content, pretty much everything you see on the production side of FS1, that's going to be underneath Charlie Dixon. We know Skip Bayless has been named in this lawsuit. We know Joy Taylor has been named as defendants in this lawsuit. So those are the big names. Of course, we heard mentions of Shannon Sharp being in there. We've heard mentions of Emmanuel Ancho being in there. So some names that we do know, the names popped up, but they're not defendants. The defendants are Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, and of course Fox Sports and all of their other companies underneath it, right? It was like Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, all that stuff, all included in this lawsuit. Now, one thing I do want to start off by saying, of course, Notion Faraji, the big name that we know as one of the accusers in here, she does have individual complaints in this lawsuit of sexual battery, a bunch of different hostile work environment cases of sex/gender, race, national origin, and disability hostile work environments, failure to prevent harassment, negligent supervision, hiring and retention, retaliation, and wrongful termination. But what I think is even bigger than that is there is a class action lawsuit attached to this as well, with multiple people who worked over the years at Fox Sports 1. And the class action lawsuit has complaints of failure to pay minimum wages, failure to pay overtime wages, failure to reimburse business expenses, failure to pay all wages upon separation, failure to furnish accurate itemized wage statements, and unfair, unlawful, or fraudulent business practices. So again, this is very, very deep stuff here, man. And this could change the entire organization at Fox Sports 1. If we're being real, if this ends up being true, I could see pretty much everybody being gutted out of any type of position they have there, because this is big. All leadership gonna have to go. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm going to try to treat this as delicately as possible because, again, accusations, right? I know we have opinions and we're going to form opinions and we're going to form what we think happened, but none of us were there besides these people specifically. So I'm not sure, just from the outside looking in, I do have opinions on this lawsuit going through the 42 pages. Now, I will later on go through probably every single page in detail. I might have to be a live stream, not going to lie. Very long lawsuit, but just to make this video not that long, we're going to summarize a lot of it, talk about a lot of the main people and kind of what their role is in this lawsuit. Now, the big plaintiff, right, Nushin Faraji, she was a hairdresser for FS1. She was part-time between 2012 and 2016. Then she was full-time between 2016 and 2024 when she was what she calls wrongfully terminated, but she was let go in 2024. So she is definitely the main person in this lawsuit. Now, she was a hairdresser. She worked with Skip Bayless, Undisputed, right, with Speak. I think she said it was another morning show. Can't remember the name of it right now. But she worked those shows. She worked with, of course, Joy Taylor. She developed a relationship with Joy Taylor when she first came because Joy Taylor moved from Miami to LA. She was a bartender and she was trying to get a spot. So she is claiming that she ended up befriending Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon, like I said before, the head of pretty much everything for FS1. Pretty much everything FS1 content related goes through him. Joy Taylor invited Miss Faraji, out to dinner. And while there, she's seen Joy Taylor with Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon paid for everything, paid for the drinks, paid for the food, and then he left with Joy Taylor. Now, she believed that at the time, it seemed like it was some type of sexual relationship there, but every other time that they would go out to dinner, either Charlie Dixon would arrive with Joy Taylor or he would arrive later, but according to her, they would always leave together after Charlie Dixon paid for everything. So that already pushing, right, workplace boundaries, especially, if you're having a sexual relationship with the boss, because we all know if you are sleeping with the top boss, it's only a matter of time really before you start elevating within the organization. So they go for the undisputed. I was about to say first take. They go to the undisputed role, and she is auditioning there. Now, allegedly, Skip Bayless was not very fond of Joy Taylor at that time of being the third person along with Shannon Sharpe. He wasn't really feeling her, but Charlie Dixon, having that relationship with Joy Taylor, pushed for some type of approval. And he asked, at first Skip Bayless said no. He said, can you just do me a favor as a friend for a friend? And that's when Skip Bayless pushed for Joy Taylor to get on the show. That is very important to remember, because that's how she kind of got her leg in to everything that has happened at Fox Sports since then. Now, also, they're alleging that Joy Taylor started sleeping with Emmanuel Ancho because she was trying to get a new role or get her own show or co-host her own show. Miss Nushin Faraji said she had a conversation with Joy Taylor, and this is where things get crazy. Well, it's already kind of crazy. I don't want to say start, but things go up a notch in craziness. She had a conversation with Joy Taylor saying, I don't know if you should be sleeping with both of them at the same time, because I believe Charlie Dixon will be upset if he finds out that you are sleeping with Emmanuel Ancho. According to her, the response from Joy Taylor was, if they find out, I would just say that Charlie Dixon is the one that came on to me, which is already a crazy allegation, because now she said, I'm going to flip it and put it on him. He's going to get in trouble for everything, and I'm going to keep going. And she's saying that she's trying to use Emmanuel Ancho to get her own show. Faraji wasn't a huge fan of that, but what can you really do? What can you really do in that situation? And that's really the allegations right there from Joy Taylor. Now, once it gets even deeper, because I'll probably link it. Hopefully I don't forget to link it. I watched Marcellus Wiley and his video about this situation. And remember, former employee, he was in those hallways. He said that he never heard that Joy Taylor slept with Charlie Dixon. But once he seen that and heard it, it unlocked the light, and all of a sudden the light kind of went off, and he believes that did take place. On top of that, he heard on multiple occasions that Joy Taylor was sleeping with Emmanuel Ancho. They had some type of relationship there. And the reason why they are not on the show together currently, Emmanuel Ancho with the facility and Joy Taylor with Speak, is because the relationship kind of went sour. So he's acting like that's pretty much well known in the workplace there, that those two have been together. And he could see perfect sense of her being with Charlie Dixon. Wow, right there. That's crazy. There's nothing unheard of, but that is crazy to hear. At one point also, Ms. Faraji said that she was groped, I believe, by Charlie Dixon. And when she told Joy Taylor, she says, so what? Like, suck it up. Ain't nothing you can do about it. So that's where her involvement is. Now, Skip Bayless, along the same lines, a little bit different, though. So remember, we talked about Joy Taylor pretty much getting with Charlie Dixon. That helped her land the role at Undisputed. Now, what is being alleged is Skip Bayless believed that Shannon Sharpe was sleeping with Joy Taylor, but later on, he started believing that he was Shannon Sharpe, that is, or Skip Bayless was believing Shannon Sharpe was sleeping with Nushin Faraji, and that he wanted to sleep with her. So he began making advances on her, and she, for the longest time, just kept denying those advances, which, I mean, you're going to expect that, right? Because if she doesn't want to be with him, that's obviously what she's going to do. But Bayless continued to press the situation for multiple years. He kept saying things like, I could change your life. I could, put you in positions that you haven't been there before. So it seems like Skip Bayless was really trying to, for whatever reason, make this work. But one troubling thing is when she said that, you have a wife. Actually, let's go back. He offered her $1.5 million after grabbing her hand and saying, I'll give you $1.5 million. That's when she responded with, you're married. And allegedly, Skip Bayless responded with, isn't your dad Muslim? Doesn't he have 3 or 4 wives? Which is a crazy response. And that is probably where the discrimination, the racism part kind of comes into the lawsuit for Skip Bayless. So she alleged that conversation was in front of cameras where he was pressing on her, then grabbed her hand and started kissing her hand. So you would assume there should be some type of evidence there. At least somebody has seen it, right? But in this lawsuit, of course, we don't see the evidence. We see like some of the alleged evidence. There's allegedly text messages, witness testimonies, things of that nature. They apparently have a lot of receipts. And I think a lot of this could be provable if they have some type of receipts that actually happen. I do think a lot of this stuff could be provable. Now, we talked about Marcellus Wiley saying that he heard a lot of what's going on before, and he heard similar situations. Now, Jason Whitlock, who also used to be at FS1, he talked about he heard that Skip Bayless believed that Jenny Taft was sleeping with Shannon Sharpe, and maybe that could have caused some type of little budding rivalry between who was sleeping with who in the studio, which already the culture just seems crazy because to my knowledge, and I could be wrong about this one, I believe the reason why Charlie Dixon got the position he was in was because the former guy got accused of sexual assault or harassment. So it just seems like the culture in FS1 has been somewhat shaky to say the least. And this is just a crazy lawsuit. I want to see where this goes. Of course, we don't want to accuse anybody of anything right now because we need to see how things play out, right? These are just accusations at the current moment, but you see multiple people who've been there with just Whitlock and with Marcellus Wiley saying that it makes sense. That's not a good look for FS1. And like I was saying before, they have a lot to figure out here because you have the talents, right, that's being named in these lawsuits. People are going to view them differently. How's advertisers going to react now to trying to advertise on Speak? How are they going to react even though Emmanuel Ancho technically isn't a defendant in this lawsuit? How are they going to, want to advertise on the facility? Maybe they decide they don't want to advertise as much money so they could lose some money there. It's still a business, right? You got to worry about public perception because even if you disprove everything here, but the public perception is that you guys are an awful company or the culture is awful, people may stop watching and that's going to impact the bottom line there. So for Fox Sports, it's big. If everything's found guilty here, what do you do with the talent? What do you do with Charlie Dixon? What do you do with some of the other managers that's kind of been involved and hasn't really done anything? There's a lot that needs to take place. One thing that also stood out to me, like I said, I'll probably go through a lot of this later, is Faraji is saying that she was wrongfully terminated. And when another person essentially had an issue with one of the Fox Sports hosts, she was very vocal about the situation. And people essentially told her if she doesn't like it, she could leave. And that was in 2023. And then it just pretty much came to the point where they tried to begin to push her out of the situation. They told her that Undisputed was going to leave. Skip Bayless tried to recruit Faraji to whatever he had next. According to her, he had big plans next. So he tried to recruit her there. There was a moment where she was asked by Skip to walk with her to the car when Skip was being let go, that she walked with him to the car. They seen Charlie Dixon, and Skip Bayless essentially went off on Charlie Dixon to Miss Faraji, saying that, you could sue him. You could sue him. With everything I've told you, you could sue him. And that is pretty alarming as well. So it just seems like a big mess. And hopefully we get more clarity as, this lawsuit takes place. But the big thing to remember, you have some individual complaints in here, but there's also a class action lawsuit. So it doesn't mean necessarily that they're guilty, but it does mean that there's not just one person that's claiming, the pay issues or the unfair issues or the culture issues. There's multiple people that feel that way about Fox Sports 1. So trying to keep this as quick as possible, man. You guys let me know. What are y'all initial thoughts on this situation? What do you guys see happening? Does this change how you view some of the shows on FS1? Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. As usual, though, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm seeing y'all next time. Peace.